If you've been using tools like ChatGPT or Claude, you've probably already seen how useful AI can be. But for most professionals and small businesses, there is still a big gap between using AI to answer questions and using AI to actually help run work inside the business. And that's where a new AI agent operating platform that has taken the world by storm has started to solve a lot of these problems. OpenClaw is basically a way to run an AI assistant that isn't stuck inside a single chat. Instead of only asking it questions inside a browser tab, you can connect it to real tools and workflows, things like your email, Slack, calendar, files, browser tasks, APIs, and internal automations. So rather than just saying, write me a reply, you can build a setup where the assistant can actually see the incoming messages, help triage requests, draft or send responses, look things up, trigger workflows, summarize activity, and carry context across different parts of the business. That is a massive leap forward from the way that most people are still using AI in 2026. When most people use web-based AI tools, they're using them in a very manual way. You open a tab, type a prompt, copy the answer, paste it somewhere else, maybe come back later and start again. That's still useful, and I still use those tools all the time. But OpenClaw is more about giving AI a working environment. It runs locally on a computer, whether it be your everyday PC you're already using or a computer that you provide specifically for the OpenClaw to run on. You can also host it on a virtual machine in the cloud. And by giving it a machine to run on, we can give it access to tools specific to us. It can run your browser and automate tasks and work that runs in your browser. It can have full access to the files and resources and programs that run your business. It can apply all of the intelligence that we know language models already have and to actually executing tasks rather than just conversing with you in the web browser. That means it can become part of an actual workflow rather than just a one-off assistant. For professionals and small businesses, that matters because a lot of the workday is not deep strategy, it's coordination. It's checking messages, replying to common inquiries, following up leads, updating calendars, looking things up, moving information from one system to another, summarizing what happened, catching things that would otherwise fall through the cracks. That kind of work is exactly where an agent style setup can be really powerful. We have set up open clause to monitor email inboxes, triage common requests, summarize important messages, support internal team communication, help manage leads, or assist with recurring admin tasks that normally eat up time every single day. Now, I want to be honest about the setup side because I think a lot of people in AI oversell this part. OpenClaw is not impossible to set up, but if you're technical, patient, and understand how language models work, it can be done. It can also, in this early stage, be very complex to get it operating the way that you want it to if you don't spend a large amount of time understanding it or are not very experienced with these sorts of things. That is where Workflow Automation Australia comes in. We offer a service where we can set up, host, and run the open clause for you, and you just tell us what you want automated and we do the rest. Where I have found OpenClaw to be complex is the small basic decisions. Where to host it, what LLM should I run, what software should I have access to, how should I communicate with it, what tools does it need to execute this job that I want it to do. And they are all small decisions, but individually can take hours, if not days, to get working smoothly, which is why we offer our expertise to those who just want the tasks automated and not the headache of the setup. Because a bad implementation just creates noise. A good implementation saves time, improves responsiveness, and removes a lot of repetitive admin from the business. And that's why I think it's especially relevant for small businesses and professionals. You don't need a giant company, you don't need a huge engineering team, but you do need a real use case. If you've got repeatable workflows, recurring admin, constant inbound communication, or tasks that keep stealing time from higher value work, then this kind of setup can make a lot of sense. And if you want to explore it yourself, you absolutely can. But if you want help designing, setting up, or running an open core system properly for your business, that's exactly the kind of thing I help businesses with through Workflow Automations Australia. Not to make it sound more complicated than it is, just to make sure it's implemented in a way that actually delivers value. So just to demonstrate how useful OpenClaw can be, I wanted to run you through some sample use cases that we have set up for ourselves and for clients. The first one is an AI agent that acts as an assistant to a real estate agent. One of the tasks that we wanted to automate for this use case was the automation of property inquiries that come through the agent's email, whether it be a direct email outreach or an inquiry from one of the property portals like realestate.com.au or Domain. The interesting thing to us about this use case was that real estate agents get a lot of inquiries about properties. A lot of them are easily answerable from the information that is already available. Some might require a little bit more of a nuanced response, and some might be very specific that the real estate agent would want to ensure they can reply to it themselves directly. And of course, if the OpenClaw is managing the main email inbox, there's going to be a lot of emails that we don't want an AI agent to act on at all. So, engineering a set of instructions that clearly defines what the AI agent is allowed to act on and not is the important architecture here. So, we developed a set of rules that tells the AI agent you may only act on property inquiries regarding properties that are currently advertised by the agent. If an inquiry comes in about a property that is not on the market, say it's an off market property, maybe an issue with a property that's already settled, that is a little more nuanced. So, we don't want the AI agent to act on that. So when it's looking at incoming emails and it sees an inquiry about a property that it is allowed to act on, it reads the email. And if the questions in the email are directly answerable from the information in the ad or the information the real estate agent has communicated with the AI agent about the property, it can respond to the inquiry with clear answers from the available information, and it will do that. And we have defined a clear writing style of how to answer emails, which it sticks to. For us, we were strict about the AI agent always trying to offer an inspection time where possible, whether it be a private inspection or the already advertised times, which again, it is aware of. So, what happens if an inquiry has a question that cannot be answered by the available information? Well, this is where the AI agent will raise this with the user in the chat directly, and it will say, "Hey, I've had this inquiry. This is what they are asking. How do you want me to respond?" The user can literally just communicate with the AI as it would if it was a human personal assistant, and there's permission to write a response. It will formulate a response and send it. So essentially, we have created a system that acts exactly like a human personal assistant would. Permission to complete tasks where it can and where it should, and where it can't, it elevates those to its user. What this sort of use case represents about OpenClaw is a connection between several different services and tools that allow it to act as a true personal assistant in a way that a browser based language model could not. It has access to your email inbox through a Google connection. It has a connection to your calendar so it knows when it can and cannot schedule events for you. It has access to a browser to keep itself updated on your business. In this example, it can keep itself updated on the real estate agent's live properties without the agent even needing to communicate that. It can store all of that information locally and access it when it needs to. And it has persistent memory. It runs 24/7 and can proactively execute in a way that a basic browser based language model cannot. And that's really the bigger point with OpenClaw. It's not just another AI chat tool, it's a way to turn AI into a working part of the business, something that can observe, assist, organize, respond, and help carry real operational loads across the day. That's why I think OpenClaw is such an important platform to pay attention to. As more people start exploring agent based systems, there's going to be a growing need for practical guidance, not just hype, not just theory, but real examples of how to set these systems up properly, what they're good at, where they can go wrong, and how to make them genuinely useful inside a business. That is a big part of what we're building at Workflow Automation Australia. We'll be publishing more OpenClaw guides, walkthroughs, how to's, and real world implementation examples over time. So if you're interested in this space, and that's exactly the kind of content we'll be putting out. And if you like the idea of OpenClaw but don't want to spend days or weeks figuring out hosting, tooling, integrations, permissions, prompts, workflows, and all the small decisions that make or break it, that's where we can help directly. We work with businesses to design, set up, host, and manage AI agent systems so they can actually deliver value, not just as a cool demo, but as something genuinely useful in day to day operations. So if you want to learn how OpenClaw works, follow along, and we'll be sharing more practical content and guides. And if you want it implemented properly for your business, Workflow Automation Australia can help you build it, run it, and make it useful.